Holy cow, there's a lot of people in here. You guys know this is the Horror Nights panel, right? Yeah! Awesome. Welcome. Thanks for being here. We're really excited. Gina and Petey called us literally last week and said, you guys want to do a panel? We're like, sure. We'll talk about the thing that we love and the thing I guess you guys love too. We're going to play this real loose. We've got some slides, we've got some visual materials, we've got some videos of some of the release videos we've done so far. We might have a surprise. Or not. Now there it is. We're going to dive in a little bit more into the Universal Monsters maze that we're doing. At the end. So I'm going to keep an eye on the watch and make sure we're not going too long with the next panel that's in here. So we're going to get started. We're going to talk about the creative process. We're going to talk about our love of the event. We're also going to talk to you guys. So we're going to, Kid Cadet's going to go around the back half of this presentation. If you guys have questions for us, we're happy to answer almost everything, okay? So there's a caveat there. I see Jack's in the crowd. Hey, Jack. The caveat is, obviously, we cannot answer anything about anything that we haven't released yet, all right? And we'll go through the things we've released so you guys know. But yeah, that's the kind of overarching caveat. If you ask a question that we can't answer, we'll just say we can't answer it. But it's not because we don't want to, okay? All right? All right, so Halloween Horror Nights. Is anybody in here who's been to the event before? Yeah. Awesome. Who's never been to Halloween Horror Nights? It's okay, you can raise your hand. Wow. Oh my gosh. That's amazing. Well, maybe you enjoy this and you want to go. Or if you have feedback for us why you don't want to go, let us know. All right. So we're going to get into this. So this event's been around in Orlando for over 30 years now, and it's something we're really, really proud of. All of us have been working on this event for a long, long time in varying degrees. But the event's kind of divided into intellectual properties and original mazes. So we bring some of your favorite TV shows and movies to life, horror films, horror TV shows, and we walk you through living horror films as part of the event. But at the same time, something we're really passionate about and we're glad still remains to this day is the other half of this event, is all the original content that we're able to create. So again, with these brands, we've done a lot of different stuff. Exorcist, Ghostbusters, Haunting at Hill House, Stranger Things, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. We love that one. But again, we've done a lot of original mazes too. We're gonna talk about a lot of the original mazes. And with us here on this panel with me are a lot of the brains that are behind. This is only a portion. There are so many people that are involved in the creation of the event. We just are the guys and gals that we get to bring up here on stage and talk about it. But again, we're gonna talk about the creative process and how we bring the event to life. Who wants to talk that? Who wants to tell everybody how we do this? Yeah, turn your mic on. There you go, Dave. How does this happen every year?
every year. Creative process. Charles and I will do this back and forth because it starts in a small room with Charles, the other show directors, and the other designers. And we'll sit in a small room and stare at a big whiteboard and say, what are we going to do? We just finished, actually we haven't even finished last year. We usually start this process in September as the event is still going on. But we'll meet in a room, we'll come up with a slate of 10, 12, 15 ideas of just random stuff, locations and characters and things. See how they might marry with each other. After that, we'll narrow it down to what we think is the strongest of that, and then we'll start breaking those down into rooms. We'll take it's a abandoned farmhouse with scarecrows in it from a few years back. It's like, all right, cool. We have a location, we have characters. What's the story? And we'll brainstorm on an idea. Charles will write this, amazing backstory, and then we sit down and say, all right, how we go? What's room 1, room 2, room 3, room 4? And we back and forth, bang that out the best we can. This whole process is about 3 to 4 days, really. I mean, it's just that's how quick we have to come up with it, because we have 10 of these we have to do every year. Post that, once we get the ideas for each room, Charles will go off and write a script, And the designers will go and create a SketchUp model. This is one for Dead Waters from many, many years ago. It was the sort of the voodoo riverboat thing. So, SketchUp model, go ahead.
Yeah, well, that was one thing I was to say. The really important thing in that first part of that process is the characters and the environments. Charles, talk about how do we define the characters? How do those environments, how do they blend together, and why do we choose what we choose?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
He's my boss. Really, a lot of what we do too is bring in like our designers who do costuming and makeup also, because they can really inform what's possible, what's not possible. Because when you're blue skying a lot of times, you may come up with a character that's so crazy that they're like, yes, that's pretty neat for 5 minutes, and then you smash this character into the ground, right? So like, how do we form these really cool giant creatures, make them safe, make them absolutely that they'll last throughout the event stuff. So then after we've talked through that, they can come with cool character ideas. How do we integrate them into the scenic? So this is all happening at the same time. It's very important that this is all going at the same time. So communication is really important too, so that we're all still on the same page. And like for Scarecrow, everybody has a different vision of what certain things look like. So we really talk about what are the archetypes of something, and then what can we spin off of that, right? Because let's say Scarecrows, like we said, the year we did it, we had a couple rooms where we had like animal bones is the head, because we're trying to come up with different Scarecrows. Clowns the same way. What kind of clowns do you think of? What scares you? So really, it's meeting of a lot of different minds, and we all are different people, so we bring something different to the plate. Like Manuel Cordero has a very different sensibility than Dylan or David, so it's really good to kind of pick everybody's brain, find out what scares them.
TJ, this is our vice president of art and design team. TJ, we're looking at some color elevations here, but how important is the design of these mazes? Again, you've done all of them.
No. Good question also, thank you. The maze actually is integral to the scare. So as much as the characters in the story really help start the foundation of a haunted attraction, the way you make your way through this space is critical, because how we place scares, where the architecture drives you to kind of look forward or can't see what's around that next bend, really what builds the anticipation and the anxiety a little bit about going to a haunted house. It's about what's going to happen next. And if we as designers and creators, this wonderful panel that does this amazingly, can make you guess or put you on edge, put you kind of not sure what's going to happen next, we've done our job. Because that's the thing that makes the most successful type of haunted attraction. If you walk through and you're not sure what's going to happen, you're a little bit apprehensive, and you're kind of looking at everything, we've got you distracted. The distraction is the number one thing about a haunted house. If we can distract you, we can scare you. And that's what these guys do and ladies do so wonderfully every year.
Yeah, and we like to, one thing we kind of talk about in the room is kind of treating the guest as a pinball, really, and being able to propel you forward, because again, we've got to get a lot of people through these mazes, but really identifying what are the angles which that pinball needs to engage that pathway. But yeah, so and there's a lot of different phases in this process. The more of the not so fun part, the permitting process of all these mazes and all the safety requirements that we're held to and want to have in these mazes. And then all of the tech that we do. We don't have anybody from tech with us today, but you have no idea that layer is everything in the maze. Because without the tech, you've got no audio, you've got no video, you've got no triggers for our characters to be able to use to aid in their scare. None of that exists without our technical team. And they are able to layer in all of their talents into all of the designs that have happened over the course of several months leading up to when these mazes have to open. But again, all of those peripherals, all the senses that these mazes need to take on, that we're not only affecting you physically in some way, but you're smelling things, some things that are not always so great. That's hard, that's right.
To their credit, they do a minimal amount of eye rolling when we tell them what we want to do.
It's really changed in the last decade too, for sure, and even before that, probably the last 15 years, I would say. Because when Horror Nights was first beginning, there were CD players.
Yes.
Yes. That, you hit your trigger and the CD player plays that track.
Before that, it was shaker cans.
Shaker cans.
Which we still use.
Yes, that is important. It's important to use all the tricks of the trade, right? But nowadays with tech, it really has upped the game in what we can do, especially on the spot changes, like going in on, if you guys come to the very first night of the event, things might change by the last night of the event because we've walked through enough times to go, you know what, I think we need to hear the environment more in this room. Can we bring down the music? Whereas before you have to reprogram the whole thing, then jump it on a CD. Now you can do it live with an iPad in the room with individual speakers. So really audio and lighting has really upped the game with what they do. They're amazing.
Well, I even say that all of the tech partners that we work daily with, we do meet with them once a week just to kind of get updates of their world, but they come back to the table every year with some crazy new improvement to triggers, to concept within the house that we would never have on our side creatively going, wow, yes, thank you so much. And they just keep upping the game every single year. So without our tech partners,
doesn't happen.
Exactly, it doesn't happen.
Another integral piece in the maze are the characters. Kelly, you're a lot involved in a lot of the casting and even placement and the rehearsal process for these attractions. Talk to us about that.
Oh, casting is so much fun. That's like the highlight of it for me. We see over 1,500 characters that do submit each year. And just finding that right person that has just a lot of energy and excited to do crazy stuff with us every year. And we have vets that have done this event 15 plus years. There's one girl that I love and adore, and she's been with a chainsaw for the past 12 years. She's real good. But it's fun, it's great. Get to work with these characters, bring them in through the rehearsal process. They're just as excited as we are to see them, because without them, truly the event is not the event. They're our last layer. So working with them in the rehearsal process, just feeding off their good, positive vibes too, just encourages us to just we want to work with these people and bring them back every single year. Like I said, the characters bring life. That's that final drive that we really need to get in front of the guests and bring you guys an experience that you're gonna absolutely adore and love.
Can I add on to that really quick too? Because we were talking about a lot of times how we architecturally we lay out scares and what makes the best scare. Sometimes you might have just a basic doorway, right? And it might be the best scare in the house because of that scare.
Correct.
A lot of times, there's no bells and whistles to the certain scare, and you get somebody who's just 1,000% ready to go, and they are so strong and so good, and they'll make that whole, even the house sometimes, people are talking about a certain scare. So scares are absolutely necessary.
The blood. The
blood.
The backbone.
Okay.
I think the thing that Universal, for all the years that we've been doing this, we kind of start, as I said, with their process. And I think there's two major things that we strive at Universal to do. It's create environments you've never seen before, like Dead Waters or Scarecrow, but it's also about creating characters that you've never really come in contact before. I want to talk to Stephanie down here at the end a little bit, because that's a little bit of the process too that really drives the creative, because sometimes we'll drive a story, we'll drive an environment, but sometimes we'll start with characters first and try to figure out what is the best story or environment to create from these unique characters. So talk a little bit about how you create a character.
So, usually it starts with talking to Charles over the show direction. I'll read through the treatments and get a feel for the vibe for each room and what's going on. And sometimes it's not, sometimes you don't fully describe the character, but you kind of explain what's happening to the character. And that really tickles the imagination as far as putting something to life. That's a fun process for me. But yeah, usually it's just throwing something down on paper. I usually do 2 or 3 different renditions of something. So just to bring to you guys, I personally hate drawing things one way, because how you're picturing something and how I'm picturing something might be 2 completely different ways. So I try to put together a few ideas, bring it to y'all, and then once you like it, then I finish it up, clean it up, do a color rendition, and pass it on to the lab team, and that's when things get sculpted and go from there.
Well, and to TJ's point too, like sometimes you'll come back to us, or any of our designers come back to us with where we gave maybe a kernel of an idea, and they've gone 100 degrees more than we could have possibly imagined. And it's the most amazing thing, like Pumpkin Lord, for instance. And again, like that, you didn't think of that when you wrote Pumpkin Lord. It was Stephanie creating that.
I just thought the first rendition of him, I drew him a lot skinnier and a lot more like skeletal and scary, and then you guys came back with like, no, make him big, make him chunky.
Want to burp in and make it all the nasty.
Absolutely.
He's not proper. No.
Yeah, you guys like Pumpkin Lord a lot. It's the crazy thing about being involved in this event, all of us and our teams, is there are things that we never imagined rise to the surface, and there hasn't been a maze yet that we can predict is the #1 maze that we do every year. So like a lot of things that we end up creating and bringing back or modifying come from you guys. Online, and some of the things you'll say about this character that you love. I mean, I was reading backstories on Twitter for characters that we didn't do backstories for. And that's the coolest thing ever. It's wild. It's wild.
It's fun to see people last year all dressed as Boris walking around.
There's the Boris right there. We never get tired of that. That is the coolest thing ever. I can't believe Jack's just chilling over there. Oh, we got a crew right here. Stand up. If you're dressed up as one of our characters, stand up. Or don't. That's wild. Thank you. I mean, on behalf of the entire team that works on this, that is the coolest thing ever. That's so flattering that you give it a life that we couldn't possibly imagine. That's nuts. It's awesome. It's awesome. Let's see what else we got here. I brought a few slides, just some of our originals. We want to talk through just some of the. This is going by super fast. We've got Scarecrow here. Talk about the inception of that idea and why a Dust Bowl era farmhouse with like creepy scarecrows.
You start. Okay. Yeah, well, a lot of times, like you were saying, at the very beginning of the process, we're talking about all the different types of houses that we could create. For some reason, we're like, we haven't really done just a scare. We've had scarecrows, but never like any house, I don't think. So that was what we started talking about.
I think one of the first hurdles we had to overcome was we didn't want the same character over and over and over and over. So it's like, well, how can we make scarecrows interesting throughout the house? And then we just landed on, animals using, bones from around the farmhouse. So we had sort of pig-snouted, burlap sack headed,
like jaw bones that are found. So it's like a really poor farm family just finding whatever they could to put these things together. Mm-hmm. We tried a lot of new things that year too, because it was a pretty basic house, but a lot of the extras we put in there was a lot of fun. Like we had the one room where we put all these subwoofers. Usually we have like one or something, for a big roar, but we were lining them up so you could hear the scarecrow above you dragging like a chain until you come around the corner. And then we had this scarecrow called Biggin, and he was on like big Frankenstein boots. And then my favorite thing is all like, like the frat guy type guys coming in like, oh, that scared me, the whole house. And then like Biggin would come out and they'd be like, ah! Yes, you go Biggin.
I think and the other part of that is, the farmhouse. We wanted to do a haunted house, but it was what do you stick in it? That's where that sort of marriage of the character and the environment itself.
Oh, the fallen floor, remember that?
The second floor that was falling down. Again, just trying to come up with interesting ways of, it's a house. How many ways can you show an interesting house? That was the last year we did the cornfield out.
And that is a true curse. It's a true curse.
Curse, yeah, curse of the cornfield.
Every year we do a cornfield, there's a hurricane.
This is Hurricane Irma. And wipe this one out.
Every year we've done corn, there's been a hurricane. So guess what we don't do anymore? No more corn. Kelly, when we're creating these characters, when you're rehearsing the talent, they're wearing this huge mask designed by Stephanie and the team, and how do you direct them? What do you say?
Now! No. Actually, it goes with the treatment, the creative intent that we draw up, that these gentlemen create, and it's with the story. So based on the particular scene that these characters are in, and based where they're placed within that scene, and what type of scare that we're going for to scare you guys as you come in, will also determine their direction. So sometimes with ping pong scares, we might use a person that's in scene, which will be standing there. You'll get to visualize them as you walk in the room. That's the distraction. Because then coming around the corner, we have directed the next performer to be able to hit their trigger, come out aggressively, but safely, and get a good scare with you guys. Then they'll go back in, reset, and wait for the next, what did you say, frat guy? To come through and scare them.
Stephanie, when you're designing, I know obviously you want to get the creative intent in, but how much of the performer having to wear it comes into your sculpts and your designs?
Oh, the entire time. Because personally, I haven't scare-acted at Halloween Horror Nights, but I did do, performing at the haunt that I used to work at when I was just out of high school and wanted to get my first job. So the entire time I'm drawing something, I'm thinking, okay, this is really cool, but are they gonna last 2 months in this? Because I know for me personally, if I'm being, smothered or if something's rubbing on my face too much, I'm not gonna wanna sit through that. So that's a huge thing that you wanna keep in mind when you're designing.
Yeah, that's great. So obviously, the event happens every year, and we do have some things that we revealed for this year that I will step through. This guy's So it's a 78 original movie. Get that out. But we've got a video we'll show in case you haven't seen it, but I imagine probably everybody in the room probably has. But we'll show it anyhow.
Here's a video.
No, are you serious? Why would you go in there? Don't go in there. Oh, really? Ooh, I guess this is the part where the boogeyman gets me. Not real.
Step into the horror classic, Halloween, only at Universal's Halloween Horror Nights.
Everybody loves that dog. I guess we gotta put that dog in the event now. Not like the last dog we put in the event. Someone else can tell you why everyone's laughing. So yeah, we're bringing Michael Myers back. It's the original 78 film. We're really excited. And again, it is not, because we did the original film several years ago. This is a brand new interpretation of that film. You're going to see some things you've seen. You're going to see some things you haven't seen, which is really exciting. We love Michael Myers. I'm excited with that clip because we actually got the music in the commercial this year. How hard that is in marketing. A lot of rights, a lot of licensing. But when that stinger hit, I was like, what else did we reveal? Charles, before we show the video, talk about, and TJ as well, the legacy of the classic monsters being part of this event and why we love to go back to them. And we have the privilege of expanding these characters.
It's interesting because the team comes from different backgrounds, from unique environments, through different educational paths that they've taken. But the one thing that seems to strike true with all of us, we're all classic monster fans. Some of us, like I said, myself included, basically saw them with my dad, late night on late night TV by some crazy horror host in whatever local area that you're from. And that was something that was like, these are amazing. So as we all come to the unique family that is Halloween Horror Nights, it is something we take as a huge honor to be able to kind of tell our new stories, at the same time pay homage to the old stories of the classic monsters. So that's something that every year we start, we figure out how do we do this. So Scarecrow, and those are our new classic monsters in some aspects. This team designs their own unique classic monsters for Halloween's new generation. But to go back and play with the originals is a huge place for us, and these guys do it, and ladies do it amazingly every year. So again, having the last few years to be able to play with monsters has been a treat. And every year it's figured out, how do we tell a unique story with characters that you guys already love, but make it true to their lineage? And so Charles, tell us a little bit about this year.
Yeah, so Universal Pictures is really cool. They've let us create original content and original stories. So if you remember the last time we had The Bride Against the Brides, that was awesome to be able to tell that story. This year, do you want me to talk about it now or show the film?
We'll show the clip and then we'll get into, because we do have some pictures of the maze that we're going to show.
I'm telling you, you missed out.
I'll come out next time, but I'll see you later on tonight.
Just text me.
Bye.
Universal Monsters, Legends Collide. Only at Universal's Halloween Horror Nights.
What's great about that is the whole house is just gloves. That's it. No. Actually, okay, so I have to totally internalize and not talk too long on this because I could talk an hour. But we still got like 30 seconds. Yeah. So a condensed story is, because we love the stories, we know you guys like the stories too, is that Talbot, who is the Wolfman, has been searching for years and years on how to get rid of this curse, because everybody he loves, he kills. It's a terrible curse. Every time the full moon comes out, he transforms. But he's at the end of his ropes. He searched all over the world, and he gets a letter from a mysterious benefactor who says, I know a way you can lift the curse. And so they've discovered an excavation site that has this amulet with Amun-Ra. And with the power of the sun, he could potentially control the power of the moon, overshadow it. So he goes down there to find this amulet. Once he's down there, of course, as always happens, it's at the last second, he's digging through the tents, trying to find where they've located this thing, and he transforms into the Wolfman. Now he's tearing through and killing everybody. But at the same time, deep within the pyramid itself, the high priest is summoning Karis, who, if you're familiar with the Universal Mummy movies, there was 5, I believe. And so this leads into Karis, which is in 2, 3, 4, and 5. Or is it 4 movies or 5? 4. So the last movie is Karis, that mummy. So he's rising up, all the mummies within the same to defend. So now we've got the Wolfman versus the mummy. And of course, we find out that the benefactor was really always Don Dracula.
Why does he want the amulet?
Because he can become a daywalker if he has the amulet. So we have the protector of the amulet. So now it's a battle royale between Mummy, Wolfman, and Dracula.
There's a a verbal sneak peek of the storyline that's been developed. And this is a storyline that was also created with our partners on the West Coast as well. So actually you're going to see two phases of the story depending on which coast you go to. I don't think we've done that before. No, that's our first time too. Yeah. We're going to hold the pictures till the very end, but we're going to get to some Q&A, and I believe our Kid Cadet is out here. If anybody has any questions for us, Kid Cadet's going to find you via a hand raise. I hope you wore comfortable shoes, Kid Cadet.
I'm ready to go. All right. Okay.
Hey, my name's Alex. Well, first off, I consider you guys rock stars of Halloween. I just want to know, how'd you guys get your start at Universal Studios? If you don't mind me asking.
TJ?
Okay.
We'll keep this brief though.
Yeah. I've been working film and TV for a while in Orlando, but at the same time, I have a Halloween history. I've been doing Halloween since like 80. So I got lucky enough to actually come on board for Halloween in '96 as the park designer for the event. And at that point, it was all contract work. We didn't have a full-time team. We didn't have a wonderful group called Art and Design that loves and lives this thing all year. They brought me on, said, hey, do you want to do the event? And I said, yeah, I'd love to. At the end, they said, you want to come back next year? I said, yeah, this is a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. It was amazing. At that time, we only had a few houses in one station. And that second year, they actually ended up saying, you want to stay around full time? And I thought, I'd stay around for 5 years, maybe. 26 years later. But yeah, it's been amazing. And again, to be able to work with a team like this and to do an event like Halloween every year is a dream come true. So it's definitely been something I've enjoyed.
I came down here to Florida on vacation. I did, and got an audition. While I was on vacation, I got hired at Universal as a young lad. And then I was a Scarecrow for a year. And one of the first HHN, I was inside this big vat full of 2 foggers blowing on me and a 2x4, and it was awesome. And then, so then I was Frankenstein in the Beetlejuice show. I've done a bunch of different roles. That was awesome. And then Harry Potter, the second, the Hogsmeade. No, the second one, was coming out. So everybody at A&D, everybody at A&D was like super busy, and they were like, Charles, you want to help us out? And I said, sure, so I helped out, and then now I'm here.
I started in the parks as well. My first job was at Jaws in 1996. I worked at Nickelodeon Studios with some fellow game labbers here. And then my foot in the door was a show we did for many years called Bill and Ted's Excellent. I was very fortunate to be able to write and direct that show for many, many years. And then being in the building and being a huge horror fan, I just started going to meetings I wasn't invited to. And started working with David and TJ in the aught 2000s end of our Horror Nights spectrum, helping to create the mazes. And then eventually they kept me around and did Wizarding World and our Lagoon shows and all kinds of stuff. So it's been awesome.
Hi. I came to Universal in '95 and was the art director for A Day in the Park with Barney. This sadly went away not too long ago. From there, I went on and art directed T2 3D. So everything I do is gone. 97, I was brought over to help out with some Halloween Horror Nights sketches, sort of thing like, some stuff like that. And I've been around with the event ever since. So I've been working on this since 97 and loving every minute of it.
Oh, man. I started in 1996 as well. Thank you. Thank you. I was a performer in the park for a long time. I was a female Ghostbuster. I also worked at Day in the Park with Barney, as well as Terminator. So I think we're together and everything is gone that we do. I actually jumped on board about 12 years ago with Halloween as a performance coordinator, and that just changed my whole outlook on what Universal could do for me. I was absolutely petrified, and the boys know, of Freddy Krueger. I know, but that went away real fast when we had the Freddy versus Jason house. So I've been very desensitized since then. But since then, yes, I get to work with these guys now on the daily, and incredible minds like this lady next to me, and it's been a dream come true. So here you go, my friend.
I don't know how to follow up on all that because my career at Universal is much shorter.
It's okay.
I started back in 2018. Like I said, I had previously performed at haunted houses, and I helped run a haunted house in Northwest Indiana. And then it was around springtime 2018, we decided that we were going to move down to Orlando and shoot our shot at Universal and see if it works out. And well, here we are.
They're moving up really fast and
And then I still work in the makeup lab, sculpting, drawing, making the masks and the makeup stuff for the event. And yeah, and then the designer position came up, and I was like, all right, I went to art school. I can draw a pretty picture. Let's see if I can do it. Yeah, and you guys like me, so.
Hopefully a shorter answer.
I don't know if I get everyone. My name is Jesus, and I would just want to know, what is probably I wouldn't say the worst, but the most disliked house that you've been through, and maybe in the future you're thinking, man, we could make this to a better sequel house. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So then we can improve every maze we do. That's the short answer. I mean, there is a maze we've done. We go through and go, that was perfect. It hasn't happened yet. Not one time. I think every single maze has an opportunity for growth. Because the fact that how fast these have to be produced to be able to make it by September is astounding, in how little time we actually have to actually create it. So as we're walking through, we're actually making changes even during the rehearsal process and during the event. We will tweak and change and adjust. So that's probably the shorter answer for that question this entire event is an experiment every year for us. Because when we get done designing and actually put the event up, that becomes the litmus test for how we're designing the next year's event. So we use the prior year to learn from to be able to do all the things that maybe didn't work out as well as we had hoped, or a scare that didn't work out nearly as well as we hoped. We can improve on that. So we've got the wonderful honor to be able to use the event to improve the event. Yeah.
All right, back here, what's your name?
Nick, what is your dream IP? I'm over here.
Hey.
What's the dream IP that you could bring to a house, and why is it Halloween 3 Season of the Witch?
Mike?
You are not wrong, sir. Let's see, how can I answer this without getting ourselves in trouble? We have white whales. There are always white whales out there. Killer Clowns is a great example. I literally, DJ can attest to this, I stood on a desk for 8 years screaming, we have to bring Killer Clowns to Halloween Horror Nights.
Stupid idea, Mike.
Right? For 7 years, I was laughed out of the room. Because I would show a clip and they went, huh? And not they. I'm talking some other days. And finally, it was like, we'll do a scare zone. We'll do a scare zone based on it, and we'll see how it goes. But it went pretty damn good. And then we have to do a full-blown maze. But to give the answer to that is, because it's tough to answer because some of the things that we love, that we want to do, are probably things that we're going to end up doing. So I don't want to cart before the horse. But there are a lot of white whales. We've done a lot of them. Exorcist, Freddy versus Jason, Poltergeist. Charles and David designed a beautiful Poltergeist maze. The Thing. We've never done the original Thing. Not yet. We haven't done the original Thing yet. So no, not yet. Not yet. Not yet. We haven't done the thing.
Give me a rebound.
All right, let's get another question here, because I know we're so limited on time.
All right, we're right here in the middle.
Hi, my name is Maddie. I love you guys. I'm a big fan. Right here. Do I have to stand? Okay. Hi. So, do you have any advice for young artists that maybe want to get started in the horror industry, or maybe even want to be in the creative team at Universal? Any advice for us? I'd appreciate it.
In design, or in what aspect? Or so one thing is we are entertainment. We are the entertainment department. So if you're still looking to go to school and learn, I would say theater is probably your best start, because you learn about the collaborative process, you'll learn about live performance, you'll learn about doing things on a budget, doing things cheaply. And usually, if you're a theater major, you're learning all aspects. Even if you're an acting major, you're still going to take Theater Craft 101. You're going to learn how to build scenery. So I would think that's the short answer. Beyond that, it's find people who do what you want to do and work with them. Ask them, it's like, hey, and I'm serious when I say, can I work for free? Can I scrub buckets? Can I help you? Can I just shadow you? So the first thing is make contact with people who do what you think you want to do and learn what that actually is. I say that's the short answer.
And then the great thing about now is there are so many resources out there now that weren't around when a lot of us got our start. I mean, full-blown themed entertainment classes in most of colleges today. Those are great resources now that did not exist when we were getting our start. Ours was very much kind of throw us into the fire and see if we burn or not. Where's Kate Cadet?
I'm going to, oh, wait, okay.
There you are.
Hi, my name is Eric. Nice to meet you all. We have a lot of people in here dressed as them right now, and a question for you: why did you stop the icons?
You will not be contained.
Why did we stop the
Yes,
icons?
the original icons, like Chance and Jack.
Yeah.
And why?
You mean why did we stop creating new icons?
Yes.
Oh, gotcha. Well, there's a lot of reasons, but I don't think we've stopped. I think icons come and go based on the need or the story that the event's telling you that year. Again, and I'll be honest with you too, the event evolves, the event changes. The event is very much, it's driven by brands right now, and that's a great thing. It's also, for original content, it's why we keep a lot of the original mazes going in this event, because we know how important it's the fabric of what makes Horror Nights Horror Nights. So we will never say there will never be another icon, but it's got to be the right one. And here's the other thing, it's got to compete with the icons we've done. And that is so tough. It's tough. There's a guy sitting in the audience as Jack the Clown. It's very, very tough. But Boris is an icon. Just because they're not in the promotion doesn't make our characters non-icons. They're iconic. Very, very, yes. So that would be an answer I would give to that. Yeah. We've got so little time left. But I want to show you guys the photos. I want to show you guys the pictures. All right. I know we're like 30 seconds left here. All right, Legends Collide. Charles, if you want to give just, don't say too much. But
I know.
There we go.
All right, so we first walk in, and this is the dig site. I'm going to try to keep these real short. That's a mummy in the wall.
So, long story short, I submitted like 20 pictures, and we got 5 approved to show.
This is some of the artwork that goes through the house, and again, it's amazing how they'll take what kind of wood. I mean, that thin wood.
Lora.
And then they make it look like something different. It's crazy. Okay. This is a bloody scene. It's one of the diggers who got ripped apart by the Wolfman.
There we go.
Delicious. Oh, I know what happens in this scene, and I'm not gonna tell you. But yeah, this is the type, and this is really cool too, because when you're doing Egyptian, a lot of times the aesthetic can just be that sandstone look. But that was something in this particular house that the color elevation people, they really took the time to make sure to give different values to each scene. Like if we've dug in the dirt, it's a different look than all the the lumber that goes into this scene versus the found antechambers and things like that. So
I want to say that something that these photos aren't showing you, and they can't show you, because they're all close up. So.
Yes.
This house is epic in scale. It is. I mean, it's very small. It's the scale of it is adventurous and epic.
Yeah, well, as you know, it's in our parade building.
It's where Beetlejuice was.
There's another one. There you go, guys.
But yeah, I think you won't be disappointed. It's big, it's small, it's all over the place, but it is, I think it's probably one of the longest houses. Just from a linear footage, walking house. I think it's longer than any other house.
I heard you walk in and go, whoa.
Yeah.
Do we have time for one more question?
Let's do one more, and then we're going to take a big group picture, if that's okay.
Got it, yeah.
Everybody get up here.
Hi guys, so my name is Sin.
I say, and I know you.
Well, there's a few of us, so all of our names have such a special place in our hearts. Justin, I may have been part of that when 18 something.
I think we may have been on a chainsaw drill team
You
together.
might have done that. Well, your wife and I, for sure. But you know as well. That leads me to, have you guys ever thought about bringing something like that back, where it was the chainsaw drill team that marched together and go through together? Because that was an awesome scare. That was so fun and so intimidating when we all came out. And it was me and my brothers and sisters, sisters. But anyways, have you ever thought about bringing some of that stuff back from
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, we have in certain instances, like in our anniversary year, we brought back the old look, and they did some of the drill routines that we used to do. Yeah. So yeah, I think there's an ebb and flow on. We also created new versions of that game. There was an all-female drill team. That was fantastic. They were actually scarier than the guys. I'm not kidding.
You know what's really cool too, is you were mentioning that there's quite the history and people being attached to this event because it's been going on for so long. A lot of characters, their kids. I didn't know whether I was allowed to say it or not. So a lot of their kids are characters now. A lot of people who started with the event are now coming with their kids and their kids. So it's a family event in that sense that's generational. It's a special family event. I won't bring my kids for a while.
My daughter will not go anymore, but my son is going to be probably running the event in his school.